In 2024, a woman in Eastern Germany bought a fully habitable 3-bedroom house with a garden for 28,000 euros. That is not a deposit. That is not a down payment. That is the entire price of the house. She paid less for a complete home than most Europeans spend on a new kitchen renovation, while housing prices across London, Paris, Amsterdam, and Sydney have made home ownership a distant fantasy for an entire generation. There are German cities where you can buy a proper house for the price of a mid-range car. And these are not abandoned ruins in the middle of nowhere. These are real homes in real cities with hospitals, schools, supermarkets, train stations, and high-speed internet. The prices are so low that when I show people the listings, their first reaction is always the same. That cannot be legal, but it is. So let me take you through 12 German cities where home prices are so cheap it genuinely feels like the system is broken. Why prices are this low. But before we dive into the list, you need to understand the forces that created this situation, because these prices did not happen by accident. After German reunification in 1990, the government invested massively in Eastern German housing infrastructure. Thousands of homes and apartments were built or renovated. The expectation was that populations would stabilize or grow. Instead, something dramatic happened. Over 2 million people left Eastern German states for Western cities between 1990 and 2020. Entire neighborhoods emptied. Some cities lost 40 to 50% of their population in a single generation. When you have far more houses than people to live in them, prices collapse. Simple supply and demand. But here is what makes this situation extraordinary rather than just sad. German federal law guarantees the same infrastructure standards nationwide. The hospital in a shrinking Eastern German city operates under the same strict regulations as a Munich hospital. The trains run on the same Deutsche Bahn network. The schools follow the same educational standards. The internet meets the same federal broadband requirements. Healthcare is universal. University education is free. You are getting first world German infrastructure at prices that would be cheap even for developing countries. That gap between quality and cost is the single biggest real estate opportunity in Western Europe right now. Now, let us get into the cities. City number 12, at number 12, Görlitz in Saxony on the Polish border. Population approximately 56,000. Görlitz is widely regarded as the most beautiful city in Germany. The old town survived World War II almost completely intact, which is extraordinarily rare. Hollywood recognized this beauty. Wes Anderson filmed the Grand Budapest Hotel here. Quentin Tarantino has praised the city publicly. The architecture is genuinely world-class. And yet, apartment prices average just 800 to 1,200 euros per square meter. A renovated 2-bedroom apartment costs 55,000 to 85,000 euros. 3-bedroom houses with gardens start at 90,000 euros. Compare that to Munich, where the same square meter costs 7,000 to 9,000 euros. I connected with a British web developer in his early 30s who bought an 80 square meter apartment with original wooden floors and 4-meter ceilings for 68,000 euros in 2023. His equivalent apartment in Bristol would have cost over 280,000 pounds. He told me the moment he walked into his apartment for the first time as the owner. He sat on the floor and laughed because the absurdity of the price versus the quality genuinely made him laugh out loud. His monthly ownership costs, including all bills, come to about 350 euros. His former Bristol rent was 1,200 pounds. The trade-off is cold, winters reaching minus 10 degrees, and limited local employment. But Dresden is 90 minutes by train, and Poland across the bridge provides even cheaper daily shopping. City number 11 at number 11. Chemnitz in Saxony. Population around 245,000. Chemnitz is a proper city, not a small town, and it has the lowest property prices of any major German city. Apartments sell for 600 to 1,100 euros per square meter. You can buy a renovated 2-bedroom apartment for 45,000 to 75,000 euros. 3-bedroom family apartments run 70,000 to 100,000 euros. Older, unrenovated apartments start at an almost unbelievable 20,000 to 35,000 euros. The city was named European Capital of Culture for 2025 with hundreds of millions in investment flowing in. A full technical university operates with essentially free tuition. A major hospital serves the region. Tram and bus networks cover the entire city. Direct trains reach Dresden in 50 minutes and Leipzig in 70 minutes. I talked to a Canadian couple who bought a 3-bedroom Art Nouveau apartment with ornate ceilings and a balcony for 82,000 euros in 2022. The equivalent apartment in Toronto would have cost over 700,000 Canadian dollars. They told me visitors from Canada walked into their apartment and physically cannot process the price they paid for it. The quality of the architecture, the space, the ceiling height, and the original details would cost a fortune anywhere else in the Western world. City number 10 at number 10, Plauen in Saxony in the Walchland region. Population approximately 64,000. This is where German property prices enter territory that makes international buyers question whether the listings are real. Apartments sell for 400 to 800 euros per square meter. You can buy a habitable 2-bedroom apartment for 20,000 to 40,000 euros. 3-bedroom houses with gardens start at 55,000 euros. Fully renovated houses run 70,000 to 120,000 euros. I spoke with an American retired teacher who bought a renovated 3-bedroom house with a 500 square meter garden for 68,000 euros. She told me she showed the listing to friends back in Ohio, and every single one of them thought it was a scam. A complete house with a garden in a European country with free healthcare for less than their annual salary. It took her buying it and sending photographs of herself inside it to convince them it was real. Now, if those prices surprised you, I need to warn you. The cities I am about to reveal make even Plauen look expensive. We are entering territory where the numbers genuinely stop making sense to anyone used to Western property markets. If you are finding this valuable, hit subscribe and the notification bell right now, because next week I am releasing a complete step-by-step guide on how to actually buy property in Germany as a foreigner. You do not want to miss that. Let us continue. City number 9 at number 9, Sangerhausen, Saxony-Anhalt, at the edge of the Harz Mountains. Population approximately 27,000. Complete houses with gardens sell for 35,000 to 85,000 euros. Habitable apartments start at 12,000 euros. I found verified listings for fully habitable 2-bedroom apartments at 15,000 euros. That is less than a decent used car. The Harz Mountains sit at your doorstep. Europe's largest rose garden with over 8,600 varieties is in the city. A regional hospital operates in town. Regular trains connect to Halle in 60 minutes. I connected with a Dutch retired couple who sold their small Utrecht apartment for 280,000 euros. They bought a 4-bedroom house with a 1,000 square meter garden for 48,000 euros and spent 25,000 euros on renovation. That left them with over 200,000 euros in savings. They traded a tiny Dutch apartment for a beautiful German house, a massive garden, Harz mountain access, and more money in savings than most people earn in 5 years of work. City number 8. At number 8, Hoyerswerda in Saxony. Population, approximately 32,000. This is where German property prices stop making sense entirely. Habitable apartments sell for 8,000 to train to meal euros. Let me say that again because your brain probably rejected it. 8,000 euros for a habitable apartment. Houses range from 40,000 to 90,000 euros. Some listings showed apartments for 5,000 to 7,000 euros that need renovation but are structurally sound. But here is what nobody mentions. The Lusatia region is receiving billions in federal structural funding. New research institutes, battery factories, and green hydrogen projects are being built within 30 kilometers. These are approved funded projects transforming the region right now. I talked to a German engineer who bought a renovated 3-bedroom apartment for 32,000 euros. His monthly ownership costs, including everything, come to 220 euros. His previous Stuttgart rent was 1,400 euros. He told me his apartment cost less than the BMW he sold to move here. An entire apartment for less than a car. That sentence should not be possible in Western Europe, but in Hoyerswerda, it is reality. City number 7 at number 7, Dessau-Roßlau, in Saxony, Anhalto. Population, approximately 80,000. The birthplace of the Bauhaus movement. The original Bauhaus building is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, right here. Design students travel from across the globe to visit what you could walk past every morning on your way to get bread. Apartments sell for 500 to 1,000 euros per square meter. 2-bedroom apartments cost 30,000 to 60,000 euros. Houses start at 50,000 euros. The city has a university, a major hospital, and direct trains to Berlin in 90 minutes and Leipzig in 45 minutes. I spoke with a Japanese architect who bought a renovated apartment near the Bauhaus campus for 42,000 euros. She told me she lives 5 minutes from the birthplace of modern architecture, and her entire apartment costs less than 1 semester of architecture school in Tokyo. The irony is not lost on her. She studies the most influential design movement in history while paying less for her home than her classmates pay for annual rent. City number 6 at number 6, Gera in Thuringia. Population, approximately 92,000. Gera has some of Germany's finest Art Nouveau architecture with ornate facades and grand buildings from its industrial golden age. The city functions at a level that surprises visitors. A dual university campus shared with Jena, full hospital services, shopping centers, and direct trains to Leipzig in 60 minutes and Erfurt in 45 minutes. Property prices run 400 to 900 euros per square meter. 2-bedroom apartments cost 25,000 to 55,000 euros. Beautiful Art Nouveau apartments with stucco ceilings and tall windows sell for 40,000 to 80,000 euros. 3-bedroom houses start at 60,000 euros. I connected with a Polish digital marketer who bought a stunning Art Nouveau apartment with original details for 38,000 euros. She told me her apartment is more beautiful than anything available at any price in most European capitals. The ornate ceiling alone would cost more to recreate than she paid for the entire apartment. Friends from Warsaw visit and genuinely refuse to believe the price until she shows them the purchase contract. We are halfway through and entering the top 5. Every city from here combines shockingly low prices with specific advantages that make them not just cheap, but genuinely compelling places to build a life. If this video is changing how you see European property, share it with one person who needs to hear this. The best cities are still ahead. City number 5. At number 5, Suhl in Thuringia, in the Thuringian Forest. Population approximately 36,000. Suhl sits directly inside one of Germany's most beautiful forest regions. Properties here come with nature that wealthy people in other countries pay millions to access. Apartments sell for 350 to 700 euros per square meter. 2-bedroom apartments cost 18,000 to 40,000 euros. Houses start at 40,000 euros with forest views. Sonnensteg, Germany's most famous long-distance hiking trail, passes right by. A full hospital operates in the city. Erfurt, with its medieval old town, is 45 minutes by train. I spoke with an Australian outdoor photographer who bought a 2-bedroom apartment backing directly onto forest for 22,000 euros. 22,000 euros! He told me his camera equipment costs more than his apartment. He wakes up every morning to forest views that Australians would pay $1 million for, and his entire home costs less than a second-hand car back in Melbourne. His monthly ownership costs, including everything, come to 180 euros. City number 4. At number 4, Zeitz in Saxony, Anhalt. Population approximately 28,000. Zeitz is a genuinely hidden gem that barely appears on any property list. The city has a spectacular Baroque palace complex, a well-preserved old town, and a growing reputation as an arts and culture destination. Underground tunnels from medieval beer storage create a unique tourist attraction. Property prices are among the lowest in all of Germany. Apartments sell for 300 to 650 euros per square meter. You can buy habitable apartments for 10,000 to 30,000 euros. Houses with gardens start at 30,000 euros. Larger renovated houses run 50,000 to 90,000 euros. Leipzig is just 40 minutes away by train. That proximity to one of Germany's fastest-growing cities means you can access Leipzig's booming economy, cultural scene, and international airport while owning a home that costs less than a year of Leipzig rent. I talked to a young German artist couple who bought a 3-bedroom house with a studio space and garden for 35,000 euros. They run an online art business and commute to Leipzig galleries when needed. They told me their entire house costs less than their friends' security deposits on Berlin apartments. Their monthly ownership costs are 250 euros. They channel everything else into their art and their life. City number 3. At number 3, Weißwasser in Saxony. Population approximately 15,000 Weißwassers, where German property prices reach their absolute floor. Habitable apartments sell for 3,000 to 15,000 euros. I need you to read that number again. 3,000 euros for a habitable apartment. Houses start at 20,000 euros. Larger family houses run 30,000 to 70,000 euros. The city sits in the Lusatia region, currently receiving billions in federal transformation funding. A new industrial park is being developed nearby. The UNESCO Musco Park, one of Europe's most beautiful landscape gardens spanning the German-Polish border, is just 10 kilometers away. I connected with a Romanian software developer who bought a 2-bedroom apartment for 8,500 euros. His monthly ownership costs come to 140 euros. He works remotely for a German company in Munich, earning a Munich salary. He told me his monthly ownership costs are less than what his Munich colleagues spend on parking for their cars. He bought his entire home for less than they spend on annual parking fees. The absurdity of that comparison keeps him smiling every single day. The trade-off is genuine. Weißwasser has lost over 60% of its population since 1990. Some streets feel genuinely empty. Services are basic. This is not for everyone. But for remote workers comfortable with quiet living who want to own property for literally the price of a vacation, Weißwasser delivers prices that belong in a different century. City number 2. At number 2. Bitterfeld-Wolfen in Saxony, Anhalt. Population approximately 40,000, Bitterfeld-Wolfen offers something extraordinary. Rock-bottom property prices with direct proximity to 2 major cities. Leipzig is 35 minutes south by train. Halle is 30 minutes north. Dessau is 20 minutes east. You sit at the center of a triangle of opportunity while paying some of Germany's lowest property prices. Apartments sell for 350 to 750 euros per square meter. 2-bedroom apartments cost 15,000 to 40,000 euros. Family houses range from 40,000 to 90,000 euros. The city has undergone significant environmental rehabilitation after its industrial past and now features lake districts created from former mining areas that have become recreational destinations. A solar panel manufacturing cluster has developed in the region, creating genuine local employment beyond remote work. A full hospital serves the area. Multiple schools operate at all levels. The S-Bahn connection to Leipzig is being upgraded, reducing commute times further. I spoke with a South African couple who bought a 3-bedroom house with a garden for 52,000 euros. He commutes to Leipzig for work. She runs an online business from home. Monthly ownership costs come to 320 euros. Their children attend free German schools. They told me they spent 2 years researching every affordable option in Europe. Portugal had visa complications. Spain had infrastructure concerns. Eastern Europe had healthcare worries. Germany solved everything. World-class healthcare, free education, incredible infrastructure, and a house they own outright for less than 1 year of Johannesburg rent. Before I reveal the number 1 city, consider what we have seen. Apartments for 3,000 euros. Houses for 28,000 euros. Monthly ownership costs lower than streaming subscription bundles. All in one of the world's richest, most stable, most organized countries. But the city at number 1 does something none of the others fully achieve. It combines impossibly low prices with a transformation so massive that buying here right now might be the single smartest property decision available anywhere in Europe in 2025. City number 1 at number 1. Cottbus, in Brandenburg. Population approximately 100,000. Here is why Cottbus takes the crown. It is not the absolute cheapest city on this list, but it delivers cheap prices in a city that is about to become dramatically more valuable, and that combination is where real wealth is built. Apartments currently sell for 600 to 1,100 euros per square meter. 2-bedroom apartments cost 35,000 to 65,000 euros. Family houses range from 60,000 to 120,000 euros. These are remarkably low for a city of 100,000 people. But here is the factor that separates Cottbus from every other city on this list. Brandenburg Technical University has been designated as a central hub for Germany's energy transition. A brand new university medical school. The first new medical faculty in Germany in over 20 years is being built right now. A major new hospital will follow. Billions in federal and state investment are flowing into Cottbus, a massive Deutsche Bahn railway maintenance facility creating thousands of jobs is under construction. What this means for property buyers is extraordinary. You are buying at depressed prices in a city where massive institutional investment is about to drive demand dramatically upward. When that hospital opens, when thousands of medical students arrive, when energy sector workers need housing, prices will rise. The people buying now at 600 euros per square meter are getting in before a transformation. That will likely double or triple property values within a decade. I talked to a German medical researcher in her early 30s who bought a 2-bedroom apartment near the Old Town for 48,000 euros. She told me, Cottbus feels like Berlin did 15 years ago. A city on the edge of something enormous where smart people are arriving early. New cafes, new startups, new energy research labs appearing constantly. But the property prices have not caught up yet. She described buying here as the closest thing to a legal cheat code in European real estate. You are buying tomorrow's city at yesterday's prices. Berlin is just 90 minutes by direct train. The Spreewald Biosphere Reserve sits at your doorstep. The Old Town features genuine architectural character. The trade-off is the transformation is still in progress. Construction disruption is real. The cultural scene is developing but not yet mature. Winters are cold, but for anyone with a 5 to 10 year perspective, Cottbus represents something genuinely rare. Cheap property in a city where billions in investment are about to change everything. That combination almost never exists in Western Europe. So there you have it. 12 German cities where home prices are so cheap it genuinely feels like the system is broken in your favor. Let me be completely transparent about the reality. German language is essential for property transactions and daily life. All legal documents are in German. Bureaucracy is thorough and sometimes exhausting. Cheap properties sometimes need significant renovation. Due diligence and professional building inspections are absolutely critical. Not every cheap house is a good deal, and some are cheap for very serious reasons. Winters are cold across every city on this list, but the fundamental mathematics remain undeniable. The average UK house price in 2024 is £290,000. The average Australian house price is 950,000 Australian dollars. The average property on this list costs 30,000 to 90,000 euros. You can own a German home outright for less than a deposit in London or a single year of rent in Sydney. And that home comes with free healthcare access, free university education, a functioning train network, and the stability of one of the world's strongest economies. These cities are not glamorous. They will not trend on Instagram. They will not impress people at parties. But they offer something that no amount of prestige can match. A home you actually own. Financial security you can feel. And the freedom that comes from knowing your housing is solved permanently, while others spend decades paying mortgages that make banks wealthy and keep them anxious. The question I always ask is simple. What would your life look like if housing cost you nothing? If that question excites you, rather than it confuses you, these 12 cities are your answer. Which city surprised you the most? Comment honestly below, because your responses directly shape what I cover next. If this video changed how you think about property, subscribe now because I am releasing a complete guide on buying German property as a foreigner within the next 2 weeks. Hit like so the algorithm shows this to people who still think home ownership is impossible. For millions of people, it is not impossible. They just have not seen these numbers yet.